Recall that when we studied the Sutram 2.132, Kartr Karane Krita Bahulam, we saw a note over there which said that Bahulagrahanam Sarvopadhi Vyabhicharartham, which means that the mention of Bahulam in that Sutram 2.132 tells us that all conditions may be relaxed. And further the note said that Vibhaktyantaram api samasyata ityasya udaharanam tu padaharakaha, etc. So vibhakti antaram api samasyate, which means that sometimes a padam ending in an affix other than the third case affix does compound. So this bahulagrahanam, this mention of bahulam, is used to justify not only tritiya tatpurusha compounds, but also compounds which are formed using a padam ending in an affix other than a third case affix. Hence, the mention of bahulam in that sutram may also be used to justify compounds like the following: dharmaya niyamaha equals dharma niyamaha. This is a chaturthi samasaha. And also vamaditaraha equals vame taraha, panchami samasaha. Then bhuvi devaha equals bhudevaha, saptami samasaha. The note concluded by saying that some grammarians use the technique of yoga vibhagaha, rule splitting, to justify the above compounds, while some others classify these compounds as being in the sahasupa category. What we are going to do now is look at a statement from the Laghu Siddhanta Kaumudi, which comes after the discussion of the Sutram 2.140 in the Laghu Siddhanta Kaumudi. Sutram 2.140 is Saptami Shaundaihi, which of course we have studied. After that, the Laghu Siddhanta Kaumudi clarifies how this technique of yoga vibhagaha, rule splitting, is used to justify certain tatpurusha compounds. Yoga vibhaga is a technical term. In this context, yoga means a sutram. Vibhaga, of course, means division. So you divide a sutram into two parts. That's what yoga vibhaga means. Yoga vibhaga is not limited to just compounds. It is used elsewhere also in the Ashtadhyayi to justify usages of scholars which cannot be constructed using the Ashtadhyayi rules as they are. So yoga vibhaga is not something which applies only to compounds. Right now we are studying compounds, so we are looking at the statement from the Laghu Siddhanta Kaumudi which details the application of this technique to justify certain tatpurusha compounds. Okay, the statement says Dvitiya Tritiyetiyadi Yoga Vibhagadanyatrapi Dvitiyadi Vibhaktinam प्रयोगवशात् समासो ज्ञेयः. द्वितीया तृतीयेत्यादि योग विभागात् अन्यत्र अपि द्वितीयादि विभक्तीनां प्रयोगवशात् समासः ज्ञेयः. Which means that in order to justify the formation of some Dvitiya, Tritiya, Chaturthi, Panchami or Saptami Tatpurusha compounds which are used by the scholars but which cannot be constructed using the Ashtadhyayi rules as they are, we have to sometimes split the rule. Which rule? Either 2.124 Dvitiya, Shritatita, Patita, Gatat Yasta Praptapannaihi or 2.130 Tritiya Tatkritarthena Gunavachanena or 2.136 Chaturthi Tadarthartha Bali Hita Sukha Rakshitaihi or 2.137 Panchami Bhayena or 2.140 Saptami Shaundaihi into two parts. Now what about Shashti Tatpurushaha? Why not any mention of that? Because the Sutram 228 Shashti is already a general rule. There's no question of splitting up that rule any further. The rule 228 Shashti is already a blanket rule, so we don't need to use any yoga vibhagaha to justify a Shashti Tatpurushaha compound. Okay, let us take an example to see how this technique works. Apate Ramaniyam equals Apata Ramaniyam, delightful at first glance. Apataha means falling upon, descending, coming down. It means first sight or appearance. Hence, one of the meanings of apate is at first glance. So apataramaniyam, something which is delightful at first glance, which of course implies that it is not really delightful. Delightful only at first glance, only on the surface. That is what is meant by apataramaniyam. Now, since Ramaniya is not listed in the Shaundadi Ganaha, we cannot use the Sutram 2140 Saptami Shaundaihi to form this compound, because that Sutram only justifies the formation of a compound using a padam ending in a 7-case affix with another padam composed by adding a suffix to Shaund, etc. And Ramaniya is not in the Shaund, etc. list. And the rules from 2141 to 2148, which also prescribe Saptami Tatpurusha compounds, they don't apply here either. So none of those can help us either. So what we do is that we split the rule 2140 Saptami Shaundaihi into two parts. The first part we can call that 2140A. That is just Saptami. Second part 2140B is Shaundaihi. The meaning of part A becomes a padam ending in a 7th-case affix optionally compounds with a syntactically related padam ending in a suffix, and the resulting compound gets designation Tatpurushaha. Now we can use this part A to justify the formation of the compound apataramaniyam, because this part doesn't mention anything about Shaundaihi. So it doesn't matter if Ramaniya is not part of the Shaundadi Ganaha. Now the anuvritti of Saptami is taken from part A into part B, as the meaning of part B is the same as the meaning of the entire Sutram 2140 Saptami Shaundaihi, which of course we have seen before. So no change there. It is the part A which is being created to justify those scholarly usages of Saptami Tatpurushaha compounds which cannot be formed using the rules of the Ashtadhyayi as they are. The usual warning here is that this kind of Yoga Vibhaga technique should not be used to create just random forms. It is only used to justify Shishta Prayogaha, usages of the scholars. As we have mentioned many times before, the purpose of the Ashtadhyayi is to understand how the scholars formed these words. It is not to generate just some random forms which are not in usage. Okay, now the Alaukika Vigraha is Apata Ni plus Ramaniya Su, the Sutram 2140A, which is the part which just says Saptami. That is used to justify this compound. Remaining steps are straightforward. As per the Sutram 1243, Prathamanidrishtam Samasa Upasajanam, the term Apatagni gets the designation Upasajanam in the Sutram 2140A, which prescribes the compounding. The term Saptami ends in the nominative case. And hence, as per 2230, Upasajanam Purvam, the term Apatagni is placed in the prior position in the compound. Now, Apata Ni plus Ramaniya Su gets the designation Pratipadikam by 1246 Krit Dita Samasascha, because we have formed a compound. And this allows us to apply 2471 Supodhatu Pratipadikayoho, to form the look elision on the sup affixes Ni and Su, which are inside the compound Pratipadikam. So now we get the final compound Pratipadikam Apata Ramaniya. Now, as per the Sutram 2426, Paravalingan Dvandvata Purushayoho, the compound Pratipadikam Apata Ramaniya is neuter, since the latter member Ramaniya of the compound is used in the neuter gender here. Ramaniya is an adjective, it could go in all three genders. The present example we have used in the neuter, so that's what makes the entire compound neuter. Declines like Mana Shabdaha. So this is how this technique of Yoga Vibhagaha is used to justify certain Ditya, Tritiya, Chaturthi, Panchami or Saptami Tatpurushaha compounds which are used by the scholars but which cannot be constructed using the Ashtadhyayi rules as they are. When we are reading a commentary on a text, we may see the commentator saying Chaturthi iti Yoga Vibhagat Samasaha or Panchami iti Yoga Vibhagat Bhuyaat Samasaha, etc. So we should know exactly what that means. It means that a loophole is being created by splitting the sutram into two parts, and one part is being used to justify a shishta prayogaha.